guys, welcome back to my channel. Where have I been, right? Well, if you're looking to see how I do my face every day, or how I would if I wore makeup every day, go ahead and keep on watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and let's just jump into the video. First, I'm using the Milk Hydrogrip primer. I know I say this every time I use it, but it is the best primer I have ever used. It definitely restored my faith in primers, Jesus. And if you have oily or combination skin, this is such a great primer and you should definitely check it out. Now I'm going in with the Milk Blurring Stick. It is a little bit brightening. I know it says it on the packaging. I don't use it for brightening. I use it to minimize my pores, to help blur out my pores. I'm only putting it in my T-zone area because those are my problematic areas. Small disclaimer, my wig was not glued down. I really didn't care how my wig looked in this video. I was so over and was ready to just film this. Next, I'm going in with the Fenty Pro Filt'r setting powder in the shade Cashew, and what I'm doing is the Jackie Aina trick, which is just setting my primer in certain areas, just to help build the coverage and also kind of mattify it a little bit. I'm not a matte girl, but I like this just the way that it really brings out the coverage for the foundation. And you want to use a damp beauty sponge when you do this, not a brush. Now I'm going in with my NYX Born to Glow concealer in the shade Cappuccino. I'm using this as a color corrector. I prefer using a concealer that's my skin tone shade versus an orange or red color corrector. I just feel like it blends a lot better, and the way that this formula is for this concealer, it blends so pretty into the skin. And I'm taking a damp beauty sponge and going ahead and blending that out. So next, I'm taking my Fenty Pro Filt'r Hydrating Longwear foundation, and I'm dotting that all over my face. And I'm going to take a BH Cosmetics 126 brush to go ahead and blend that out. I use a brush instead of a sponge just because the brush gives it a little bit more coverage, because a sponge will soak up more product when you use it to blend out your foundation. And when I use the brush, I'm using it in downward stippling motions. The only time I do swipe is if I'm blending it down to my neck, and you always want to blend your foundation down to your neck just so that there's no line of demarcation and the blend looks seamless. Just talk about how pretty this foundation looks on my skin. Like, I don't look oily at all. It gives a nice little natural radiant glow. This formula to this foundation is so bomb. Like, if you are into that kind of finish, this is the foundation for you. And I'm realizing I didn't do my brows. I typically do my brows before foundation, so that was me realizing that. But look at this foundation. Look how pretty it looks. Also, by the way, I am in the shade 400 when it comes to this foundation. And next, I'm just going to take a damp beauty sponge and go over my face just to make sure there's no brush strokes and there's no streak marks, making sure that my base looks flawless. So now I'm going in with the McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Concealer, and I'm going to go ahead and prepping my eyes for eyeshadow. And I'm taking that same damp beauty sponge and blending it out so that there's no creases and that the base is smooth and seamless. That way when we go in with eyeshadow, there's no patchiness. You want to make sure you're blending your concealer or your eyeshadow base up into your eyebrow bone. That way there's no line of demarcation and your makeup doesn't look weird because you didn't blend it all the way up. So now I'm taking that Fenty setting powder and just going ahead and setting that concealer. I'm going in with the Aina palette, and I'm going with the shade Ginger as my crease color today. I'm going to be taking that into the middle of my crease and then blending it outward, extending to my eyebrow tail. That way it's just going to give it a winged eyeshadow look, especially when you go ahead and cut your eyeshadow with your concealer. It's going to look really, really sharp, and it's going to look really, really pretty. So I start in the middle and then go outward, and then I'm going to go back into the middle and then blend inward to my inner corner. I'm also going to take the eyeshadow up into the beginning part of my eyebrow. Don't go too heavy like I did, and if you did, it's okay. Just use a clean fluffy brush and clean it up. But the reason why I do this is, one, because it defines a little bit the beginning of my nose, kind of almost like a little bit of a contoured nose, and also it really brings some depth to the eyeshadow look when you extend your crease color up to your to your eyebrow. Jesus. Got to record the footage of me adding the second crease color, which is a deep brown from the Huda Beauty Nude Rich palette. I will show that on screen in a little bit just to show you what shade I'm talking about. Now I'm going in with the shade Zam as my lid color from the Aina palette, and I started using a brush, but then I realized it wasn't working. So then I go ahead and start using my middle finger, I think it's my middle finger, to go ahead and pat in the shimmer shade. Be very careful with this shimmer because it does have fallout. So I do recommend, if you are going to use a brush or your finger, pat upwards so that way the fallout doesn't fall on your face. But me personally, I always get fallout, but it doesn't bother me. But if you are a person where fallout bothers you, definitely, one, do your eyeshadow before doing your face, or just make sure you pat upwards. I'm taking the shade Credit from the Aina palette, and I'm using a small fluffy brush to blend that into my outer V, and then blending it into the crease. That way it's going to give the eye look a little bit of dimension. I know it's from the Rose Quartz set from BH Cosmetics, but I'm not sure the number. Now I'm taking that same Pat McGrath concealer, and now I'm going to go ahead and conceal. If Robert Welsh watched this, he would kill me because that's too much concealer, but I went heavy in concealer this time today. Well, that day. Definitely went in heavy. So now I'm just concealing underneath my eyes. I was going to highlight my forehead, but I went into my eyes, obviously, but highlight my forehead, down my nose, my chin, and around my mouth. A little bit around my mouth. You don't want to go too heavy around your mouth. Though I go too heavy around my mouth, so. And I have a mustache. And now I'm realizing that I didn't film me blending out the concealer and the foundation. So, well, just the concealer. So I went ahead with a damp beauty sponge and blended that out. Now I'm taking the Pat McGrath under eye setting powder. It's like blurring, and it actually really does blur. It's really, really beautiful. I'm taking that in underneath my eyes and all the places that I highlighted with the concealer. So now to bring some warmth back into my face, I'm going to be taking the Fenty Pro Filt'r bronzer. Well, it's not Pro Filt'r. Stalk'r bronzer and Coco Naughty. And I'm just putting in all the places for like a sun-kissed look and to bring some warmth back into my face. Jesus, I cannot talk this morning. And I don't contour anymore. I kind of just stopped doing it. but you don't want to use your bronzer as a contour. You just want to place it in the places that you want to make it look like your skin is sun-kissed. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish off this eye look and place some eyeshadow in my bottom lid. I guess that's the place where it is. And I'm using that shade Ginger. And again, I'll show on screen the second crease shade that was in my crease. And I put that underneath my eye as well. It's from the Huda Beauty Nudes palette, the Rich Nude palette. And that's the last color I'm going to put underneath my eyes. I'm not going to go in with Credit just because I don't want it to be super smoky. I still want to make it look like a, you know, daytime look. And now I'm going in with blush here. Pretty self-explanatory how I'm blending in blush. Oh my gosh, again, can't talk. Now I'm going with the Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder. With this, a little goes a long way. You really want to use the littlest bit when it comes to this. You want to make sure it looks like almost nothing is on your brush when you go in with this highlighter. So for this highlighter and all of his highlighters, what I do is I press it into my skin first to kind of give it a natural glow highlight, and then I blend it downwards in circular motions. But pressing it into the skin first makes it look a lot better rather than just going in straight with the line. Look how pretty that looks. Look how natural it looks. It doesn't look like there's just a streak of highlight on my face. It looks really blended into my skin. Gonna go ahead and highlight the tip of my nose and then the bridge of my nose. And just adding more blush to make sure that's all blended together. And here I'm just gonna go ahead and cut my cheeks. I'm taking it from the corner of my mouth and upwards. You don't need this much powder. I just have this thing where my lines need to be straight. You can go in with a little bit of powder and it does the trick. I just have this thing, so you don't need this much at all. And you can leave it on for a few seconds. You don't need to leave it on long. You just want to go ahead and brush it off once you're done. And look how cut that is. Look at that. And now I'm taking the NYX brown lip liner and, you know, wiping off a little bit of chapstick so the lip liner doesn't slip around. But I'm gonna overline my bottom lip just because, one, I think my bottom lip is super small. So just to make it a little bit fuller and a little bit more plump, I'm gonna go ahead and overline it. I don't overline my top lip, I just overline my bottom lip. And you'll see how much of a difference it makes. Look at that. You can just see already the way that my bottom lip looks now. It looks so different. Wait till I add the gloss. Oh my gosh, such a bomb trick. Take a shot every time I say bomb. I'm going in with the Fenty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fussy. I'm not a lipstick person anymore. Just go straight in with lip liner and gloss and call it a day. Look at that. Look at my lip. Look how plump it looks. Well, my bottom lip. Also, I don't have any lashes because I broke them, so that's why we didn't add lashes to this look. So now I'm going in with the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix No. 2 spray. You want to use a little bit of this because if you go in with too much, you're going to look like an oil slick and it's going to take forever for it to set. So what I did was I sprayed it and then I let it air dry for a few seconds, and then I'm pressing it lightly, keyword lightly, into my skin so that way it can set a little bit better. And the way it just melts, just look at that. Look how pretty that looks. Again, a little goes a long way. Do not go ham with this spray at all. So last, I'm going in with the Milani Make It Last setting spray in the style Normal. With this, you can go ham just because it's in the set Normal, which means it's not going to make you look too oily. It's not going to make you look too matte. It's the perfect setting spray. So again, I'm going to let it air dry and then going to go ahead and press the rest of it into my face with a damp beauty sponge. And that is it for the final video. I hope you guys got to learn something today, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!